So, welcome to the AI webinar, How to Go from Buzzword to Time Saver, hosted by Plan, a strategic meetings and event management platform that centralizes every aspect of the planning process, from the sourcing to the planning to the negotiating and even contracting, payments, and reporting. So, Matthias, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Matthias Clock. I'm the VP of Marketing on Groceryshop, which is a tech innovation event for grocery retailers and CPG brands. I also run my own events, which are focused around cigars and whiskey. So cigar social events, basically in New York City. I've been doing that for 13 years. And I have fallen in love with exploring AI and learning about it with other people. So I'm happy to be here. All right, start the clock. I'm going to try to get through two examples that are kind of the edge of how I'm using it to do kind of complicated things very quickly. So I'm going to share my screen here. Hope that it works. I was actually having some issues with ChatGPT. So this is actually a screenshot of my conversation. So this is using advanced analytics, which is a ChatGPT 4 enhancement. So you have to have a paid version of ChatGPT. $20 a month. It's absolutely worth it. I would pay $100 a month for this product easily. I'm going to show you basically event analysis that I did with this that would otherwise take me probably months to do. So I told you about my cigar and whiskey events. I basically said, let's do some analysis. I'm going to take the last 10 years of all of the events I've ever done and drop the summary data into a CSV. So I'm going to drop the top line event performance for each of my events, almost 200 events, into ChatGPT and have it tell me what's in the file. So it went ahead and described, probably used Python. It described the name of the column. So event date, ticket sold, number of tickets available. And then to summarize the different types of events, you can see I asked it to isolate rooftop events, Straight Up and Toasted, which is an event that I do in Midtown, Davidoff, which is a series with Davidoff, which is a brand, Smoker Social, which is a different event type I do in Cigar 101, which is some of the classes that I teach. So you can see the counts of the event, and it plotted it on a graph. Now, the graph is pretty ugly. So I responded, replot using a bar chart. So now we have the frequency of the events over the years. Looks good, but it's a little hard to tell which events are which because it shows green for everything. So my next response was, can you differentiate the colors and add data labels? So now we have colors on these bar charts with data labels. So now I wanted to understand the relative attendance of these event types by year. I'm really going to scroll through this very quickly. What I really want you to understand is how flexible ChatGPT is to do the type of analysis to get really exactly what you want. So you can see I got another ugly chart here with some analysis, so average attendance for each of these event types, which was helpful. I asked to reformat it to a bar chart. So this is monthly attendance at just one of my event types over the years. You can see here, it actually left out 2020 through 2023, which is my big critique of advanced analytics, is it oftentimes will accidentally some data out. So you just have to be on guard for that and call it out. So you're missing 21, 22, and 23. Please add. So you can see it added that in, updated chart. I then asked for a moving average. I just wanted to see, can I see general attendance trends? It looks like attendance is, like, broadly speaking, pretty flat at around 60 attendees per event. Then I wanted to see monthly attendance across all events. So that's not just one event type, but all of my events. Then I asked for analysis, which is a step deeper. So what's the relationship between the total number of events held each year and the annual attendance? What are the 3 best months to host events over the years? And if I was going to create a brand new event, what month should I consider? And it did this analysis here. It was spot on with its analysis. December, January, and February are by far my best months in terms of attendance. And then I asked for the relationship between the number of events hosted of a specific type and attendance, which is basically more events are good until a certain point, and then you start to see reduced returns. So here's total attendance across all of my events by year. Really, the point I'm trying to illustrate is you can customize this. Like, I actually just wanted 2023 to be green. So I said, can you change 2023 bar to light green, which it did. So extremely flexible. I can upload any data and have it do any type of analysis. I was doing some really wacky analysis last night. I was looking at a referral program for a newsletter and wanted to model out the growth of that newsletter and the revenue based on the number of referrals from each newsletter subscriber. And I'm not a data scientist, but ChatGPT is. And so it's able to actually suggest the type of analysis that's most beneficial. So that's use case number one. I'll breeze through number two. And if you ever want to chat about any of this, I'm on LinkedIn. So just connect with me. I chat with people all the time in DMs about how to use this stuff and would love to learn from you. Let me just share this screen now. So this is actually a marketing implementation. And this is actually from an event that I'm working on now, which is called Groceryshop. So basically what I wanted to do, and this goes to the personalization point that I mentioned earlier, what I wanted to do was create segmented marketing based on the themes of my show and write emails that would be versioned out for different journeys, different customer journeys based on the interests of the attendees. So you can see I uploaded the agenda. It just has the session day, time, the name, the session description, etc. I asked it to analyze the themes of the sessions. So tell me what the top 5 themes are, and it falls on its face here. So it pulled the descriptions, and it just did a simple word count. So retailers mentioned 44 times, grocery mentioned 42 times, retail mentioned 40 times. So it was not very smart. It just did a word count. So obviously these are not the themes of the show. So we get into the conversation here. Okay, these are individual words, not themes. Themes should be phrases. For instance, a theme I see in the agenda might be personalizing customer experiences or growing profitability. Okay, so great. I understand your point. You're right. Themes are often more nuanced and may involve multiple words. Okay, good. So it tried again and got it wrong again. Retailers, so it widened its scope from 1 word to 2 to 3. And we ended up with retailers and brands, track keynote, generative AI, which is one of them, and shopping experiences. So the conversation continues. Okay, track keynote. It's more logistical information. It's not a theme. Generative AI is good. Others not so helpful. Expand to 2 to 4 word phrases. And this is where it starts to get things a little bit more right. So generative AI, shopping experiences, supply chain, et cetera, et cetera. From here, I basically said the themes are good. Now we're going to create some marketing email copy for each of these themes. Now this is where adding in a lot of detail to a prompt can be really helpful. So if I was working with a marketing manager or a marketing associate to write these emails, I'm not going to say, okay, just go write emails about these themes. I'm going to give some specifics. So I'm going to say, here's how I want the email to be structured. A short intro, a bolded list of 5 speakers that are speaking on those topics, a list of 3 sessions that cover that theme. I asked it to prioritize by the seniority of the speakers. So start with, VP or C-level, et cetera, and add a call to action. And then I did style training. So here, use this copy as your style training. I basically pulled some of the best paragraphs of copy from our website that represent our brand, dropped it on here. Great. And then I thought this was so cool. So it says, understood, using the provided style guide, I'm going to create marketing email copy for each of these themes. Great. And I just thought this was so great. It said, let's start by generating email copy for generative AI. I'll identify the relevant sessions. So it does its coding to pull out, runs into a bunch of data issues, and is actually able to correct itself over about 4 iterations, which is great. And now here's the copy for the email. So it gave a fairly generic sounding email, not perfect, not terrible. It didn't include much of the session information, and then it said, would you like me to proceed with the next theme, or do you have any adjustments? Which I thought was so great, because that's exactly how a marketing associate would respond, right? Like, let's tailor this one first and then get the rest of them right. So we continued, we made some adjustments, and we ended up, I'm going to skip forward because I want to leave time for everything else. We basically ended up with these segmented out themed emails, which my team now can use to go to market for these themes. Now, there's no reason that this couldn't have been a 3 email campaign for each of these themes with different call to actions for each email. It really just comes down to how big are you thinking with how you're engaging. But my recommendation would absolutely be for anyone on this webinar is get ChatGPT Premium and start using this advanced data analysis, because I think what a lot of people miss is it really isn't just data analysis. It isn't like once you use data analysis, all it's capable of doing is data analysis. You can actually shift it to creative use cases once the data analysis has been done. So once you start thinking like, okay, I can take this data and now do really creative things with it that actually could be great for marketing, that's when you start seeing those really incredible returns. Like that whole conversation took 20 minutes to version out all of that marketing. So get into the advanced analysis, get in there, start uploading files. And my last tiny tip there is if your company doesn't want you to upload any information from your company, if you have very strict security policies, you can still play with this technology. Just ask it to create sample data. So create an Excel sheet, add the headers of the data that you would kind of want to be using, or take your own Excel sheet, remove all of the data but the headers, upload it, and then say, I'd like you to create 500 sample rows with random information for each of these columns based on what you think would be most fitting in these columns, and then do your analysis. So you can still learn how to use this technology even if you're having privacy and security restrictions at your company. So just like, for the sake of your efficiency and your career and all of that stuff, like get into it and start using it. So okay, all right, I'll stop. Thank you.